Brands should consider search marketing for a number of reasons, but I think one of the most compelling things is the fact that most of their customers are actually going online. So one of the things that probably most people are kind of observing at the moment is that the high street's really kind of falling off because people are kind of more confident buying online now, and there's also more choice and potentially better prices to be found as well. So the migration of customers online is a kind of compelling reason to put your business online. A lot of people are actually doing it as well, so now it's important to make sure that when they're looking for those products or services that they find you above your competitors, and that's really where search marketing comes in, as you're able to kind of optimise your site and make it more compliant from a search perspective so that people actually can find you instead of your competitors.
Good.
Social media is really important from search marketing's perspective. It's now part of the calculation that Google uses to help kind of rank websites within the search engine results page. So one of the things that we're spotting over the last sort of 6 to 12 months is that the more active you are in social media, the better chances you have of ranking within Google's search engine results page. So one of the recommendations that we'd always kind of put forward to our clients and anyone looking to do anything online is to make sure they've got active social profiles, because it shows Google and it shows customers that you're active, that you're still in business and still able to provide support and customer service, etc. Google factors that into the algorithm, and actually you'll get better results through SEO because of it. To measure success from an SEO project, there's a number of different things, and I think this is actually where some agencies fall down a bit, and potentially some clients fall down, is that you can look at the kind of the traffic volume, and you can look at positions in search engine results page, and they're massively important for sure, but the fundamentals is it has to come down to bottom line. You have to look at what makes you more money and what doesn't make you any money, and subsequently do the things that make you more money and get rid of the things that don't make you any money. So one of the things that we do is when you're selling a product online, you're looking at Google Analytics and looking at how many products are being sold, and ultimately you can then start calculating back to work out how much you're spending, how much you're making, and what the return on investment is. It becomes a little bit more tricky in a B2B and potentially in a service industry where you don't have an online transaction. But again, you want to be looking at the number of people that phone up, the number of people that call in, and ultimately, how many people purchase your service. And again, you can then see the impact that kind of SEO work's having. Measuring SEO from a business-to-business point of view is a little bit more tricky potentially than the B2C kind of market. When you're actually selling products online, you can have transactions that you monitor and track back to. I think one of the things that we do when there isn't an online transaction is we have to look at other metrics that are involved. And I think if anyone's running Google Analytics, if you're not running Google Analytics, you should be running Google Analytics. It's a great kind of platform, it's free, you can install and track everything that happens on your site. In a B2B environment, what we'll be looking for is average time on site and also bounce rate as well. Those two metrics combined, without going into too much detail about what they are at this point, will help to gauge the relevance for the users. And actually what you're looking for is making sure that people stay on the site for a long time and they look at multiple different pages whilst they're on a visit. As long as you can kind of start doing that and looking at your metrics, you're more likely to have more relevant people going to your site. And I think then with that coupled with inbound calls, you can hopefully ask them the question of where they found you, although it's not 100% kind of foolproof. It still gives you the kind of understanding of how that kind of activity and how people are finding you, and actually when you tie those things together, you get a good idea of how well the SEO is performing in a B2B environment. One of the things from a search engine optimization point of view and subsequently search engine humanization, I think people get tied up around trying to do too much to please the search engine, and actually they forget that there is a customer at the end of the journey. And I think that ultimately the algorithm that the search engines employ is to try to provide relevant results to their customers. So I think that people need to remember that is actually what the engines are trying to do. don't get caught up in trying to over-optimize the site from a search engine's point of view, because if you do that, you're likely to probably get found out by the search engines and have actually the reverse effect of all the work that you've been doing. But also it's important to remember that when you get when you're optimizing for the user, it's better to get 5 relevant people to the site and maybe 3 customers, as opposed to 1,000 people to the site which aren't relevant and subsequently don't convert. It's a waste of time, and I think that that's why it's important to sort of monitor what you're doing and to understand the kind of the data that you're getting, because then you can optimize for your customers. All of digital marketing has the same sort of rule set that traditional marketing has, and it's always the customer. You've always got to understand what they're looking for, provide them the information that they want, and hopefully build that trust with them so they can purchase the products or services that you offer. This is it's a really tricky one for businesses to keep up with search marketing changes, fundamentally because it changes all the time. What works 6 months ago may not work now, and actually it's something that we us as an agency really focus on trying to sort of stay ahead. And I think the advice I would give to people is if you're a small business, a new startup, definitely worth getting involved with digital and trying to find some information. There's some great resources online, including for example our blog is continually updating with kind of new things to consider. There's also things like SEO Moz and some really good resources online to find what's happening in the world of search and social marketing. However, it will come to a point where you need to make a decision of what's the best use of your time as a business owner. And I think the same analogy when it comes to finance. When we started as a business, I was running finance and doing the bookkeeping, and it came to a point when it's taking me 2 days to do it. That's 2 days of my time which I should be spending doing something else. And I think that the same kind of analogy comes in from a search perspective, that when you get to a certain size, it's probably worth getting some outside help to consider spending your time as a business owner on the things that you should be doing, and let the experts trying to stay ahead of the latest changes. So if you're a business person, I think you've got to focus your efforts on what's going to make you the most money as the business. And I think that there is a lot changing in digital marketing and search marketing and social media, because it is a really dynamic environment. And I think that there has to be a point where you've got to say, right, I need to get some external help to do it. And I think the tricky thing is finding out what that point is. I think financially there's got to be a consideration there, but it's weighing up your time against the cost of paying an external to do that work. There's been a number of kind of predictions around what's going to happen sort of this year for search marketing and social media. We made a few right at the end of last year. They were kind of based around the changes in the algorithm from a search perspective, and actually they seem to be kind of taking shape and coming true based on what we thought. I think SEO is much more content focused now. They've really kind of reduced the value of links, and again that's kind of evident that the people who have over-optimised their sites from a search engine point of view are now taking a bit of a penalty around that. So I think what is important to remember is, again, keep the customer in mind, keep focusing on what is it that they want. And as long as you're doing that, then you've got a better chance of kind of preempting any future algorithm changes. So content's really important, providing good, sort of fresh, unique content regularly to your site. We're seeing that kind of having a real factor within search engine rankings. Social networks, again, that's another sort of prediction. We said that that's going to grow within the algorithm. I think we're going to see more and more of Google+. I think it's doing a lot better in the States than it is in the UK at the moment, but it's something that's likely to continue as Google rewards you for using their social media. So business owners will be encouraged to use that and drag their customers with them. So I think we'll see more and more of Google+. I think also the trend, we're also seeing in most of the markets that we're working in that more and more customers are looking as well, and that's because, again, we're seeing more and more people having access to the internet. We're seeing more and more people having lower barriers to purchasing things online. And finally, I think that the other thing to really kind of focus on sort of this year and certainly kind of the next year will be mobile. They've been talking about the year of the mobile for about 5 years now. I'd say that we're probably here. The reason we're here is partly because of the iPad, and that's considered a mobile device. So it actually, it doesn't quite qualify as a unique kind of mobile device, but it's driving people to utilise the internet on different platforms and purchase from different platforms. So it's really important that you're planning anything you're doing in the next sort of 6 to 12 months has to be mobile compatible. to allow those people who are more comfortable with the kind of mobile devices to purchase things online and find the information out about your site. If it doesn't load on a mobile device, you need to be looking at that as a kind of a priority one for sure. One of the questions we're always asked is, particularly by the smaller kind of businesses that are new to the market, is how do they compete on the same scale as some of their bigger competitors? I think one of the things to remember with search marketing is that it is very focused around keywords and what people actually search for, and sometimes the bigger brands aren't going to focus around what would be classed as more niche terms. So actually the playing field is quite open for the smaller businesses to get involved, find out what their customers are searching for, and make sure they optimise their site around those sort of search terms. For example, looking at a local business that has a kind of an operating radius of 20 to 30 miles will have certain towns and kind of localities within their search terms. And as long as you're optimising your site for those, you're going to make sure you can get relevant customers to your site. And then as your business grows, you can then build that radius out. You can build more content around the other sort of areas that you kind of offer the service, and subsequently you can kind of grow and compete against the kind of the bigger businesses.